It's Time Warner Cable's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined by Tom Brewer. He is a member of the Torrance City Council. And sir, we hear that the economy is turning around. UCLA recently came out with a forecast, despite the shenanigans going on in Washington. What are you seeing on the street in Torrance?
Well, I'll tell you, I think the things, at least in the city of Torrance, are turning out as well. We're getting new car dealerships, which really do help the sales tax revenue in the city.
In a huge way.
Absolutely.
But when you say you're getting new car dealerships, you're being a bit humble. You're getting 5 new dealerships.
We're getting 5 new dealerships.
And some of them are pretty high end.
Well, we're getting a Ferrari Maserati dealership, which is
very high end.
Very high end. I don't know how many there are even in the whole country.
Now, why Torrance? No disrespect intended.
I think, when you look at the location of Torrance in the South Bay, most cities have to drive through Torrance to get to their city.
Right.
And if you look at the Palos Verdes Peninsula with the wealth up there and the beach cities and even some of the parts of our area, there's people that can buy those cars in those cities and they drive down Hawthorne and they see it.
No doubt. What about housing? Because that is one area where we saw real hits taken in Southern California. For so many years, cities and counties were seeing their property tax revenues plummet because of foreclosures, because of reassessments. What do you see in Torrance as an example?
Well, I'll tell you, Torrance is a built-out city. It's an older city, and by that I mean people really aren't leaving the city.
Sure.
So our property tax base stayed level for a long time. We weren't hit by that.
Good.
It's actually going up a little bit now because there are so few homes for sale in the city of Torrance.
So are we starting to see a little tension in the market in a good way, that
Yes.
we're starting to see some bidding wars go on in Torrance?
Yes, houses aren't staying on the market very long in Torrance. It's a desirable city to live in, for the climate and the schools and lots of reasons.
Location, as you said.
Location.
One area, and it's interesting you had mentioned to me before we started speaking, is this idea of the utility tax that the city will collect.
Yes.
With an economy turning around, one would expect the utility tax to go up, but not necessarily.
Well, that's true. What's happening in our city is, as people are getting greener, the houses use less electricity, less water. Now, those are part of your utilities. And also people are using cell phones now and not landlines, so that's another utility. So we're seeing our utility user tax go down, which is what's kind of making our recovery a bit mixed.
Meaning the city's recovery, the city's budget?
That's right. Because utility user tax makes up about 1/3 of our budget, and when you see that going down, the other income hasn't come up enough to offset that yet.
But it really begs the question, because I can't imagine Torrance is in a unique situation, and city budgets rely on a steady flow of certain revenues.
Yes.
And if we are seeing trends whereby utility taxes are decreasing because of a green adoption, because of the elimination of landlines, cities have got to rethink this area, and that's not easy. Tax reform is not easy, even at the city level.
That's true. And when you look at what we can do to mitigate some of that, there's not a lot of control we have in our city over some of the income that we have.
Right.
State has more control of that than we do.
But the utility tax, is that directed by Sacramento, or is that something you've passed?
That's something that we passed. That's something we control. That's one of the few things we can actually do in our city. But even raising that tax is not going to offset the amount of money that we've lost and continue to go down.
So what's the answer? I'm sure you've looked into this.
I think, one of the things I think we'll see in our city is a lot of the vacant storefronts that we have are going to be filled up. So we're going to see maybe a shift in our tax revenue. We may see a shift more toward the sales tax coming up.
But do we need to reform the utility tax side, or is it just you got to adjust?
I think we have to adjust to some of the new realities.
Okay.
And the governor has talked about more local control.
That's true.
So
come back and talk about that. I'd like to.
Yes,
His name is Tom Brewer. He is a member of the Torrance City Council. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.